think this was probably their grave for a long time.
In the dark heart of the Peak District, the Most Haunted team set out to solve another Midsummer murder. I'm Yvette Fielding and welcome to Most Haunted Midsummer Murders. This week we're going to a beautiful little village called Castleton in the heart of Derbyshire. So with Midsummer Murders, the Most Haunted investigation team find themselves with a specific task: to attempt to uncover the truth behind some ancient murder mysteries that time has shrouded in obscurity. We will obviously need guidance during our investigations, and who better to call on to direct us through the various locations we will visit than our historian Leslie Smith. I met up with Leslie, who revealed the murder mystery we were to investigate in Castleton.
A young couple of lovers who were eloping to be married and had all their worldly goods with them spent the night in Castleton. That night they talked of their plans, and then the next day they were murdered. It's said that they were murdered by a group of miners who've worked in this area on the pits there for very many years, this time mining not for coal, but indeed for the granite stone in that area. And listening to their plans, realising they had many bags with them, they were attacked and murdered, tradition says, and their bodies cast down a nearby mine, only to be found 10 years later. Now what I want you to do is see how much truth there is in all of this story. 2 bodies were certainly found in the mine, and a saddle cast upon the girl's body. The worst part about it is, these miners were then haunted. Well, that's not the worst part, the murder is, but the miners had the most terrible cursed life afterwards who stole this money. They were not actually, shall we say, tried in the traditional sense, but the villagers knew who they were, keeping this dark secret. 2 committed suicide, 1 was found dead, 1 died of some extraordinary illness. But one of these people tried in an act of contrition on the deathbed to release themselves of this sin by admitting they had indeed murdered this couple, and the bodies that were found were them. So the first stage, you're going to go to a pub.
Okay, so we're going to go to the pub. This is where they were overheard, this couple.
Yes.
I take it they're on horseback, because you mentioned a saddle.
Absolutely right, yes, they were both on horseback, but they would have had a lot of things with them, and those things would have been desirable to steal, you see. Particularly if they were eloping, maybe they thought that folks wouldn't be very quick off the mark to find they were missing, and there would be a chance to hide them very easily, if you like, the bodies, or it would be a long time since they were found out.
So they obviously stayed overnight in this inn.
Yes.
They were... So local folklore says that they were overheard talking about their plans, right. And then the miners were obviously in the pub, they overheard it.
Yes, they said about them. Do you remember a lot of areas, you know, then, or they were up in the Peak National Park area, you will find a lot of wooded areas as well then. It's not all open space, and they were just set upon, and the population's much smaller then than now, you know. We're talking about in the middle part of the 18th century, in the 1700s.
And I know there's mining, you mentioned mine. Does that mean you want us to go down into the mines? I've got a sneaky suspicion. Look at the look on your face.
Well, I think it's very important that you should, because if David's going to find some information out, we want him to go to the places which we think will be the sources of energy that David's able to pick up on. As a historian, I just like a bit more meat on the bones, if you'll excuse the phrase.
In the heart of the Peak District, the village of Castleton, often referred to as the gem of the Peak, sits peacefully at the western end of the Hope Valley. It has always prospered due to successful mining within the surrounding area. This man-made underground interference broke into existing naturally formed caverns to create a vast and labyrinthine subterranean network, now much visited tourist attractions. Will this stunningly beautiful location give up its sinister secrets as we unravel the appalling murder of an eloping couple? Armed with the loose threads of the mystery, Yvette travels to Castleton and meets up with medium David Wells and parapsychologist Dr. Kieran O'Keefe, who will take notes on David's findings, which will be sent back to me to aid my further research and guidance of the investigation.
This, to me, is just one of the most beautiful villages in Derbyshire that I've ever seen. It's just absolutely stunning, isn't it? So, David, are you picking anything up here, you know, with regards to spiritual activity in the village? Because obviously you've been here a little while, taking it all in.
Well, it's very difficult initially because A, you're outside, and B, there's all the usual distractions of people around and things. But what I'm trying to do is kind of go back with the village, take myself back with the village, if you know what I mean, to get rid of the roads, get rid of maybe some of the houses, that sort of thing. But yeah, there's things moving about.
Really?
Which is good, yeah, there's stuff moving around.
Okay, now I'm going to give you a little bit of help, because obviously, you know, through time there will have been, and Kieran, you can help me here.
Yes.
It's going to be a bit difficult to just say, right, David, give me something connected to the story that me and you know.
Yes.
Right.
You know.
Well, it's not only that, it's the fact that we're going to be following a crime or a murder.
Right.
And we've got documented cases here, but there are also going to be hundreds of other undocumented cases, so it's very difficult, you know, to pinpoint exactly what we're getting.
Should we,
It does feel a bit busy.
Does it feel busy? That's good. Do you want to give him the first clue then?
I can do, yes.
Go on then.
A couple.
A couple of what?
We're dealing with a couple.
All right, that helps narrow it down a little bit. Not much, but a little bit. I think what I'd like to do is kind of get to the heart of the village. There's always, you know, that centre point in the village. It's either going to be a pub or a church or something like that. And the only other thing I am picking up on a very big horse.
Oh.
Okay.
A horse at the moment, and it's quite a large horse. There's 2 or 3 horses, but there's one that's sticking out predominantly for me.
Okay, so shall we go into the heart of the village?
Yeah, let's
have
do
a
that.
sort of poke around and see what buildings kind of come forward in your mind, yeah?
Okay.
Happy?
Yeah, happy.
Okay.
Following the initial clues from Kieran and Yvette, David is drawn to the Castle Hotel in the heart of the village and to one doorway in particular, and the investigation is underway.
There's the main building here, and there's this sort of, what, I don't know what they would have been, it's a smaller building, and you've chosen this door. What's making you head towards here?
Well, as I came down here, my energy levels just dropped completely. Everything in me dropped like a stone.
Oh.
And that, you have to be very aware of that. So I felt that's where there was a drop. Do you know what I mean? So it's like it just energetically went boomf, and I'm just aware of that. So it's not, sometimes people think it's a big woo, or the opposite where you get really high with it. But no, it's equally important when you just suddenly drain completely.
Oh, so
you know?
your energy levels just went like that?
Just completely, almost like it dripped out my hands.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to go in there then?
Yeah.
Okay. So obviously this is a B&B or hotel or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, is now.
Yeah.
That's the thing, isn't it? You're never really sure what they were before.
When you walk into a room, do you instantly see it as it was?
Not instantly. So sometimes, I must admit, it does work sometimes, but other times you have to kind of put yourself in. Sometimes the people in the room are more in your face than the room itself, and the rest comes after that. You know?
So why were you drawn here? Is it obviously connected to this couple that Kieran has told you about?
Yeah.
So what's going on in here?
There is a I don't know if there is a connection here. I've got a couple of conflicting things. There's a very strong energy in here of death. And the drop thing is important. I think someone hung themselves. But I'm aware of chitter-chattering. I'm aware of, in this area, not just necessarily in this room, I'm aware of chattering from conspiracy, like whispering. So I'm aware of people whispering about probably this couple. Right. So plotting is probably a better word.
Going off a bit from the couple, you're talking about this one character who sounds like they committed suicide. Can you get anything about that particular person? Male, female?
Male, definitely
age?
male. Probably aged around 32, 33, so not massively old. Right. But that's all.
And is he part of this group of of
I think he may have been. He may have been, and there is a remorseful feel, so he's sorry for something. The name Thomas comes to mind as well.
Okay.
So,
I know it's a little bit early yet, but when would this murder have taken place with this couple? When, would they have been here sort of plotting this murder?
I would say late 1700s.
Right.
1750s, 1760s. I think there's a sensation of this area of